guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Yes. A Statements Monday here on Mackey and Judd. We already, if you're listening to this or watching this, there's probably a Purple Daily episode that might be of interest to you on this Monday, too. We're going to hit you with little Lamar Jackson, not even reckless speculation, educated speculation from Jeremy Fowler.
It's not us.
The Vikings might be in on Lamar Jackson.
It's not us. That's all I know.
Oh, my God.
It's out there.
That was even like further than we would go. We kind of did the Lamar Jackson thing a couple weeks ago, but it was more like, they're never going to make a call on this. But it sounds like I don't know, there's at least some buzz. So check that out on Purple Daily here. But
Buzz
this is
Factory?
the Buzz Factory.
Buzz Factory.
Mm-hmm. So was that a Manscaped? Right?
No, it's actually not. If you hit nerd
Excuse
alert,
you, Dex.
my microphone is USB but XLR capable. It can do both. And if you touch the XLR, makes a little buzz.
Judd, do you know what XLR is?
No, but that's like the freaking Beatles, dude. You're like George Martin. Feedback.
I don't know if that's the right word to use, but yeah,
It's feedback.
Comparison. Yeah, a little pep
Babe
sounds.
is good to me.
Judd, if we put a USB and an XLR connector out in front of you, with what % confidence would you be able to identify them? You could probably do the USB.
You
I
could do
guess, so.
USB.
Yeah, but no, but I'm not gonna like. I have no idea.
You're not betting your life on it.
No, hell no.
All right, Statements Monday here. All right, here's the first one. The Timberwolves injury situation is a weird, convoluted, confusing cluster bleep.
Okay.
I present to you two things from the weekend. So Anthony Edwards goes down, and he was like screaming in pain, if I heard correctly, through the broadcast. So he goes down, and we put a new Flagrant Howls episode out last night, and Kyle did a great job of kind of laying out, like, why aren't they more clear with their communication? So Anthony Edwards goes down. Looks like he literally snapped his leg in half the way that he was reacting, right?
Yep.
That was the front end of a back-to-back in which they turned around like 20 hours later and had to play the Raptors. So they're going into a different country. They just played double overtime, right? And the team announced that Edwards will receive further evaluation on Sunday, presumably when they get back into the United States as they travel now to New York.
In New York, that's correct.
So Sunday reevaluation. He was listed as questionable for the Saturday game against the Raptors. So the Wolves, of course, put out the Karl-Anthony Towns. Hey, we finally have an update on Karl-Anthony Towns late last week. Here it is. Click on this link to read the full update on Karl-Anthony Towns. And it was basically, he's alive. He's dribbling a basketball, sometimes with his teammates, and we expect him to play at some point in the coming weeks, even though there's only the coming weeks, there's 3 weeks left in the season. So Shams comes out yesterday and says, according to his sources, good news, Anthony Edwards has exited the walking boot, is moving around more, and the swelling is decreasing in the ankle sprain he suffered. He's expected to be evaluated day-to-day on a return. He's also, I believe, questionable for the game tonight against the Knicks. Everyone's just questionable. Towns is out. So we don't know, like, Anthony Edwards could be out for the season. It looks like maybe it's not quite that bad because he's out of the walking boot at least, but we don't really know. Thanks to Shams for providing an update. And then you have the Karl-Anthony Towns came out and said, well, if the team's not going to update you, and he's probably reading all this stuff from people on social media, people are criticizing him. Dude, it's been 16 weeks. Your team their nose is like the only thing out of the water right now as they gasp for air in the Western Conference, clinging for the play-in right now. And Towns sends out a tweet yesterday. Me waiting to get cleared to play. Let the kid do what he loves. And it's a lion
in a cage
in a cage with its paw up on the cage, like saying, I want to get out of the cage. Uncage the cat is basically what he's saying. So the Wolves are just kind of like, if you're the Wolves at this point, this is becoming a Joe Mauer bilateral leg weakness situation.
Yes.
You're making people. I told this to Kyle yesterday. People think Towns is a wimp right now. That's
including our own Patrick Royce.
It's the overriding sentiment. And he's trying to say, even though there's been some reports that have said he's been driving sort of the rehab schedule kind of on his end. So I guess I'm just saying, like, the Wolves are gasping for air in the Western Conference. Their two best players are injured. We don't really know what the status is on either one of them, and they have 10 games left, a lot of them hard.
First of all, I'm more confident than ever that I believe it was last Wednesday's write that down is going to come true. I think Cat is going to ask out. I think this whole thing has been just mismanaged beyond belief. I don't know what the truth is, but I do know this. It has been managed wrong from the word go. So here's the problem with sham sources. Here's the problem with sources when it comes to the Wolves. I tweeted this on Saturday because I saw, and I mean, the Wolves say this and it gets tweeted with like hope. Well, the Ant thing might not be that bad really. And so, and they leaked that out. And I tweeted, forgive me if I'm going to be a little bit cynical here, but we heard the same thing about Cat, that the team said, 6 to 8 weeks. And then I got a tweet back. I think it was from shockingly a burner account that said the Wolves never said that. They said,
was it from Bill 649372185?
It was a definite
selfie that's like this close.
Yeah, it was a burner account. I just saw some gray hair. I think it was Chris Finch's burner. But the reality, and I tweeted this back to the person. I said, yeah, okay, the team didn't say it, but where do you think the sources that Woj used? It came from the team, who's like, yeah, he has 6 to 8 weeks, Woj, he'll be back. So when I see that sources tell shams now, I wonder where those sources come from. That Ant is out of his walking boot and it's looking good. Forgive me if I'm cynical until I actually see him play. And Phil, I'm with you. From what we saw on Friday in Chicago, that looked really bad. I can't believe he's back in 2 or 3 games.
He's a warrior, man. Like he is tough as nails.
But the only point being here is, my God, get your act together from a medical media standpoint. The Vikings, I think you might have attended this, Phil. The Vikings, an NFL team, they don't want to tell you anything. When Adrian Peterson got hurt against the Packers in 2007, and it looked really bad. Thankfully, it wasn't. The Vikings called a press conference and paraded head athletic trainer at the time, Eric Sugarman, up to the podium to explain exactly what happened and explain he had
like a dummy. He literally had like a fake knee with ligaments that he was like showing you. But here's what happens when this one.
But you know what? That's a star player. That's really smart. Like from there on, no one said, "Oh, you're lying about this." And you know what? They weren't. Timberwolves, come on. These are 2-star players. This whole vagueness thing and trying to outsmart the system is really annoying, and I think it's going to cost them. I think Cat is probably more pissed at them than he's ever been. That's my guess.
Well, and that's what's interesting is so initially word came out, I'm guessing from the Timberwolves side, right, through Woj 4 months ago.
Yeah.
4 to 6 week injury, targeting sort of, maybe late January for a return. I believe 4 to 6 weeks was the first diagnosis.
I was thinking 6
but then Cat came out, or maybe it was 6 to 8, whatever. It's been 16 weeks now. So whether it was 4 to 6 or 6 to 8,
it undershot.
The initial diagnosis, or at least communication about how bad the calf injury was, makes Towns look bad.
Yes.
And now Towns is putting out, I'm kind of defending him because we don't have enough information on the contrary. If the initial communication to the media was, it's going to be about a month or two, probably closer to 2 months, and it's been 4, he looks bad. And if now he wants to play when they're desperate for scoring in a Western Conference that's, slipping away from them and they won't let him play, it makes him look bad. But if they were to come out and say, guys, it's taking a little longer than we thought, and it's on us because we view Karl as a longtime cornerstone of this franchise. We aren't going to risk. Listen, this season, it'd be great. We want to do as much as we can, but we have a long-term view of his future here. We don't want a Kevin Durant situation where we rush him back. That was the NBA Finals, so I get why they did it, in Golden State. We don't want a situation like that. They haven't said anything. We don't. Are they? It's amazing. So, anyways,
if this was the Twins, they would be getting hammered here.
Yeah, well, now,
and I feel like the Wolves
now people are just apathetic. Well, dude, don't get me started on the Twins. So the Twins, throughout the last few weeks, right? Derek Falvey is telling the assembled media down in
Don't get me started about Twins.
Don't get me started. Start me up.
But here's the opposite way that you do it. Like Falvey's been straight up lying to the local media in Fort Myers. A couple weeks ago, he told the assembled media, "We are absolutely still on track for the There's MLB Trade Rumors had a synopsis of this a couple weeks ago. Yep, even though Polanco and Buxton and Kirilloff haven't played in any spring training games as of 2 weeks ago, they're still on track to be ready for opening day. Which, like, if you've missed the first month of spring training, you're likely, unless there's some very strategic plan, likely not playing in the opener. That's the way it works, right? And everyone just like, okay, well, this is what Falvey said, right? And I guess it is what he said. And then, of course, now it's coming out that, well, Polanco actually probably won't be ready for opening day. So you've got, on the Wolves front, you've got lack of transparency because they just don't say anything one way or the other. And on the Twins front, you have lack of transparency because they lie. So anyways, all right.
Hey, Dex.
All right, my Wolves statement. This is the most frustrating Wolves team, I think, of the last, I'll just say it, of my lifetime.
Yeah,
they're the most frustrating Wolves team of my lifetime. Last year, after going to winning the play-in, taking a good Memphis team to 6 games, their first playoff appearance in 20 years essentially, and it's been a rough time to be a Timberwolves fan over the last 20 years. And this year they get Rudy Gobert, you plug in Cat, you plug in a superstar with Ant, you get some nice pieces. Kyle Anderson's been great, right? Like there's some good supporting cast members here, and then Towns gets injured and it's weird. Now Anthony Edwards is injured, and it's weird. You have a team that's clinging on just to get into the play-in at this point for a team that was supposed to win about 50 games. At least their ceiling was probably 50 games, and now they're going to be lucky to likely finish 500. This is the most frustrating Timberwolves season I have ever witnessed in my lifetime, and I've always had a kind of one toe out with the Wolves, but just from watching this season and watching what's been happening off the court, to me, this is the most frustrating Timberwolves season of my entire lifetime.
And I believe, I haven't looked at the rest of the league schedule, but so they play the Knicks tonight. They're playing in New York. The Knicks have been one of the hottest teams in the NBA the last few months. 12 games over 500. You're likely to lose to the Knicks tonight unless they put up a weird fight, right? You're currently tied for the 9, 10, 11 seed with the Lakers and the Jazz. 11 means miss the play-in, but you're only a half game up on the Pelicans. So if you lose to the Knicks, and again, I don't know how many of these teams play tonight. I don't have the schedule open, but you might be on the outside of the play-in after tonight's game with 9 games left if you don't beat the Knicks. So, but then here's the thing. If in a normal season, you would just kind of look around and be like, oh, man, just a little snake bit. One of our best players was out for 4 months, and then our other best player hurt his ankle down the stretch, and we were just never fully able to get the Gobert chemistry with Cat, and we made that midseason trade, which we think is going to be good for the next year and a half, but disappointing, but also kind of snake bit. Let's not rush anyone back. Let's just get a lottery pick. If we miss the plan, it sucks, but at least we'll have a draft pick and we can get another asset, right? Well, they don't have their first round pick this year. So if they miss, and there's a chance that Utah could even finish ahead of them, which is amazing. So in a normal circumstance, you could just kind of live with, well, that sucks, but at least we get the draft pick, which has been my life watching the Timberwolves and Declan's. You don't get the draft pick. So there's really only one acceptable scenario this year, and it is find a way into the play-in, find a way to get into the playoffs, and do something like you did last year, put up a fight so it doesn't feel like you took a huge step back after that ridiculous trade last summer. Which
leads to my statement. And that is, I will extrapolate on my earlier thoughts about Cat with this statement. Cat's a goner. The Wolves being the Wolves, this is just has become crystallized clear as day. First of all, the Wolves have taken a relationship that was probably in decent shape, felt like it was, right, with Cat, and have done everything that they possibly can to destroy it. Like the lack of transparency, when the player is now literally coming out and giving updates, asking to play, or saying, I was never going to be back. And by the way, for anyone who said, well, hey, Zolgad, how do you know Woj didn't get his information from Cat's camp? Why would they leak a hurried time schedule?
They wouldn't.
That came from the Timberwolves, okay? So, but Cat knows that. So he had to come out and literally defend himself. And now he's saying, I'd like to play, please. So on Cat's side, I think he wants out. Because keep in mind, too, the team is being sold. And more importantly, as much as Cat Cat might love Chris Finch, no clue. But you know who I can guarantee you he don't like? Tim Conley, because this is coming from the front office. And so, like, if Cat liked previously, I don't know, Gerson, right? If Cat liked the people in charge at one time, those people are not in charge now. And so Tim Conley has taken a huge step to basically destroy the relationship with Cat. Congratulations, that's done. The other thing from the Wolves standpoint is this whole year was supposed to, or the first half of this year was supposed to be all about getting guys to play nice and how does Rudy and Cat and probably Ant and at the time D'Lo fit together, right? Well, that's gone now.
You have no idea. Well, you kind of know that Ant and Gobert don't have great chemistry.
Right, but what you don't know is you don't know how Cat fits in at all. So are they really going to come? Are you really going to run this thing back again in the fall, in training camp, starting into the season? And are you going to say, all right, now we need to find out? Or being the Timberwolves in a blind panic, are you going to say, my God, that was a disaster? I think they're going to try and maximize as many draft pick chips as they possibly can and trade Cat. And I think Cat is going to be the one that expedites that because I don't blame him. He's pissed off and he should be.
So interesting. Because I think Gobert's actually been, he especially since January 1st, he's just been a better player for the Wolves. And maybe some of that's because he doesn't have Cat and they're not trying to figure that thing out. But I would almost be tempted, as much as Cat frustrates me, I would almost be tempted to just sell Rudy off for like 30 cents on the dollar and take my medicine. But you're right. You could get a lot more in a trade for Karl-Anthony Towns. But we know that Towns and Edwards have more chemistry than Edwards and Gobert, and their ages line up a little bit better. I don't know, man. This is a mess to unpack over the next.
It's incredible. It's a huge mess. And why, if you're Cat, why would you trust Conley now? What's he done? Like this was Tim Conley's first year, right? Yeah. What's he done to get your trust?
Can I give you one more? We'll get to some non-Wolf stuff here. We got about 12 minutes left, and then Judd has to go on the Tom Bernard Show, which you can find TomBernardShow.com.
We can push it a little bit. They're always late.
Okay, like 15. We're good.
I'd say 15.
This is my last just current gripe about the Wolves. Stop complaining about the Wolves getting screwed by officiating. Okay. I know that that Boston game, there were some really bad calls.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that there aren't games like the Boston game. There's a couple things in that Bulls game. Are there nights where the Wolves are getting a bad whistle? Yes, absolutely. Are there nights where every team in the NBA gets a bad whistle? Yes. There's also some data that shows you that some teams get better whistles than others. Warriors, right? And that's a thing in the NBA. It totally is. But according to Alan Horton a few nights ago, the radio voice of the Timberwolves, the Wolves lead the NBA in technical fouls, flagrant fouls, and ejections.
Wow.
I'm going to say that again. They lead the league in technical fouls, flagrant fouls, and ejections. Is that because the league is out to get them? Let's go. Let's go get the Minnesota Timberwolves. Let's go screw their asses over, right? Like Vince McMahon in the Attitude Era. Let's go get Austin. I want Austin. I want Finch. You think Adam Silver has an edict to the referees? Like, you go make sure I want them to remember the night they played the Titans. I want them to remember the night Ed Malloy was in town, right? Maybe look in the mirror. How many times are you blowing leads? How many times are you get out to a 20-point lead against Washington at home or whatever, and you blow it, right? Like, you lose your mind and spaz because I want my teams to be a little more stoic and able to absorb some adversity than we've seen from this Timberwolves team. It's one of the most immature, fragile teams in the NBA, even though they've added some veterans. It's very disappointing. They do get a bad whistle sometimes, but they're not getting there's not some conspiracy out to screw the Timberwolves. Some of this is look in the mirror stuff for our Wolfies. So, all right.
It happens with the Wild all the time, too. Judd and I have talked about this ad nauseum, especially now that playoff time's coming up. It's like, the Wild are playing the Avalanche and the referees. Like, no, because they are not.
And Dean complains incessantly. He complains way too much. How can you call that? How can you call that? It's like, dude, just, okay, pick your spots. That's the thing. Pick your spots. Because if you complain all the time, you're going to get calls against you on purpose, which you deserve then. Yeah. Just calm down.
By the way, you can pick your spot for dog food at NutrisourcePetFoods.com, the official dog food and pet food.
On that one.
Oh, there's audio on that one.
What
okay.
That's
How about this one, though?
I heard. Oh, Stella and
Stella.
her good friend Righty Ryder.
Right.
Oh, what a good boy he is. Look at Stella. She's like, get this guy out of my house.
Actually, Maya's happy to be back on Nutrisource here because a couple days ago she got into the dark chocolate on accident. We don't usually keep stuff like that around, but someone gave me some dark chocolate as a gift, and it got left in a place where it shouldn't have been, and Maya then had to go to the emergency vet on Friday.
But you know what?
And,
you don't have that problem with Nutrisource, which is good for your dog, which will help your dog. And those training rewards treats, I'm going to tell you, they are the piece de resistance of dog food.
There. Coming from a guy that Judd, not only does Stella eat a bowl of Nutrisource every morning in dog treats, Judd pours himself a bowl, puts some milk on that Nutrisource.
I like the dry. I like the dry stuff. It's real good.
It's so good. Your dog's parents eat it. No, don't eat the actual. Leave it for your dogs. NutrisourcePetFoods.com. You can find a Nutrisource retailer somewhere near you. They support local pet stores, so check them out. Even outstate, all 50 states. Judd also, or I should say Declan, Underdog Fantasy. I don't know if you were if you had some funny stuff on the Valspar this weekend, but boy, that got weird at the end. Jordan Spieth put a ball in the drink. And,
classic Jordan Spieth, talking to himself, just melting down. I love it. I did see this one, though, from a listener because he was playing some March Madness props. So you can do that also at Underdog Fantasy. He had a little 5-item parlay here for a little $200 payout, watching the madness unfold, highers and lowers, doing all the greatness on the pick'em option at Underdog Fantasy, which has options on March Madness, NBA, NHL, plenty of great options at Underdog Fantasy. New users get a promo bonus with the promo code SCORE up to $100. Type in SKOR if you're a first-time user and show us those winning slips. Go download the Underdog Fantasy app.
Boom. All right. Who wants it?
Dex, Wild?
Yeah, I'll give a wild statement.
Go ahead.
Egg on the face is my statement. Ooh. Egg on the face. So before the trade deadline, the Wild brought back Marcus Johansson for a 3rd-round pick, and Judd and I hopped on an emergency Judd's hockey show, and I was at least the first one. I don't know if Judd was in the same boat. Said, I don't really get this. You're bringing back a guy who really wasn't that good for you the first time around. Sure, he's got some playoff pedigree to his name. Why we're going to burn a 3rd-round pick of all the players to do it on? You're going to burn it on this guy who really hasn't been that productive 5-on-5. Oh, boy, was I wrong. In the last 5 games, Johansson and Matt Boldy have combined for 16 points, 7 goals, 9 assists. They're a +9 together on the ice over those last 5 games. Now, Boldy has been streaky, so it's not necessarily completely all Marcus Johansson waking up Matt Boldy. But I will say he has helped spark Boldy to a degree. And now that you're going to go into the playoffs with a playoff veteran here, a 3rd-round pick for a guy like Johansson who's now starting to produce a little bit for you, little egg on the face. Bill Guerin, friend of the show, by the way, you were right. Again, I apologize to your face directly, which I've done to him already before on Judd's Hockey Show.
So the first time Declan's been wrong on the show.
Yeah, first time.
What a moment.
Yep, thank you.
Marcus Johansson has been, I didn't see this, though. I mean, these against the Bruins, the game that they lost on Saturday, and then against the Capitals, both former teams of his, he was just unbelievable. That leads into my wild statement, and that is less can be more. Less can be more. How so? I am never going to say that the Wild is glad that Kirill Kaprizov is not playing, but I will say this: when he's out, a lot of people have realized, we have to play hard. We have to shoot the puck too. Yes, you do. Matt Boldy, a chronic non-shooter, on Sunday shot the puck 6 times. He scored 3 goals. Let me give you a stat.
Dude, imagine how many goals he could score if he just shot 6 times every night. It'd be
I don't know if
crazy.
he's a chronic non-shooter, Judd.
He's a chronic non-shooter. He loves to pass the puck. He's a chronic non-shooter.
Like 3.5 shots he averages like 300 shots a game. He shoots a ton. He
loves to pass the puck. Zuccarello, chronic passer as well.
Judd's eye
Shoot
test
the puck.
over Declan's analytics.
On Saturday,
Matt Boldy has the 3rd most shots of anyone on the team, by the way.
But you know what? He doesn't shoot enough, and he did on Sunday. And guess what happened? The puck goes on the net. I believe he shot. I believe he had 2 shots on Saturday against Boston. Not enough. He then had 6 shots on Sunday. Guess what happens? He scores some goals. His second goal was a thing of beauty. It was a goal that basically came from off to the side of the goaltender on a tic-tac-toe. It's a pass it's a puck he loves to pass. I'll pass it back to you. Now you pass it back. That's a bunch of crap. Let me give you a stat, though. Without Kaprizov, the Wild has 24 goals in 5 games. 10 games before that with Kaprizov, 23 goals. They have one more goal in half as many games without Kaprizov because you know what? They're going to the net. They're shooting. It isn't good that Kirill is out. It's good that somebody realized that they shouldn't stand around and watch the game like I do from the press box. They're getting paid. I'm not. I love what we're seeing here. And if they keep this up, they give themselves a legitimate shot because they're going to the net. They're scoring greasy goals. The compete is high on a nightly basis because nobody is puck watching 97. Guys, leave that up to me. My job is to watch. Your job is to play.
This show likes to be accurate, okay? So just for accuracy's sake, only 31 players in the league. These are forwards. No, there's a couple defensemen on here, I guess. Only 31 players in the league have shot the puck more than Matt Boldy has this season.
Yeah, and he could have shot more. Probably should be top 10.
Okay. No, I just want to make
he
sure.
Probably should be top 10. Look,
I just want to make sure we're aware.
Look,
now, Kirill Kaprizov was barely top 10 going into his injury.
If this was just me, it would be fine. But let's just say that Billy, Dean, and I are on the same page here.
Your group text thread with those guys just bitches
Dean was
about
talking about it again yesterday. He's got to shoot the puck more. The second goal yesterday is textbook where I've been urging him to shoot. Yeah. And it's a great shot. That kid has way more skill than he gives himself credit for. He's a big time player when he wants to be, as Declan knows.
Is he just a little insecure or something? Maybe.
No, he didn't. No, he likes to share. Quit sharing. Be selfish.
Life advice from Judd. I will say of the players above him on this list, so he is the only other player that's as young as Matt Boldy who has taken more shots is Jack Hughes, center for the Devils.
Yeah.
The Devils.
The one question with shots too, though, that can't document is when and where you shoot from. Like that's the thing.
High danger shots would be
my eye test is his love to pass from places he should shoot. The biggest problem with shots on goal is these BS long shots or shots that come from way out by the boards. That's not a shot.
Yeah.
That's just a hope, which is also fine. But I'm talking about volume of puck on net. Volume.
I like where you're going with these analytics.
Football. Analytics.
I like it.
It's all Zolgad eye test in the press box. I don't know what you're talking about.
My last statement here, because I know we got to get you out here in a couple minutes for Time and Art Show is.
I gotta go.
Sometimes being a dog owner is hard.
Oh my God.
Presented by Nutrisource. Declan and I both had, we might need to tap into Sports Dad here. So people, by the way, think that I'm just this terrible dog parent because I told the story about the Raisin Bran recently.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Let's just say there's two people. Let's say there's two dog parents. There's two dog parents. All right.
This never ends well.
But the one on Friday was 100% my fault. I introduced a dark chocolate bar that I received as a gift. Our in-laws were in town, and like an idiot, I put the dark chocolate bar in my mother-in-law's bag, and we just set it down in the entryway, and I was giving them a tour of our place, and just like, hey, can I get you a beer? Put March Madness on, and 10, 15 minutes go by, and oh, Maya Mackey, who's 19 pounds, doesn't take a lot of... And dark chocolate, I found out, is based on the panic on the other end of the the pet poison line and stuff. That's the worst kind of chocolate. It's the most dense chocolate.
Ties up their intestines,
yeah.
I think. Yeah.
So we spent a fun few hours at the emergency vet and then took her home finally. But she's alive. We're great. I know.
Strike two.
She ate a bowl of Raisin
Third strike,
Bran.
I'm coming and taking her.
Actually,
sticking her in my backyard.
Depending on what you think about the third strike, which is she ate a live bird one time on a walk. Just like a baby bird fell out of a nest.
That's not parenting.
From a tree.
That's sad.
It was on the sidewalk, and she was on her leash up ahead, and she just swallowed it.
That's not your fault.
Yeah, that's not your fault. That's the canine right there. That's just
exactly
a dog.
That's a savage, man.
That's just a dog that wants it. That canine wants it.
We thought, there's gonna be like she's gonna poop like a beak and some bird legs. Nothing. Literally she just digested it like a champ, man.
Yeah. Vinny at 2:30 on Friday, Saturday, and also about 6 hours ago, decided he wanted to wake up because he has had some digestive problems with his tummy. And I'm a light sleeper. So the moment that dog hops off the bed, Like, I think I knock on wood, if I have children, I'm going to hear the slightest cry because I pop up like, what is that? What's going on? Who's in the house?
Yeah, we do too.
And poor Vinny boy had to drag mom or dad out, mostly dad out, this weekend to let him out to go.
So does he, when he has these digestive issues, does it ever happen on the bed or in the house?
No. He is very good. He hops off. And then if I can't see him because it's, 2:30 and I'm half awake, I'll just hear from the door. I'll hear just a little cry from the door, and it means let me outside immediately right now.
Poor guy. Maybe stop feeding him the super hot salsa before bedtime. That's what gets old Macadac here.
That's join the club. Yeah,
guys, I gotta run.
I gotta go.
I gotta go.
All right, Mackey and Judd, daily Minnesota sports entertainment, and Purple Daily. Check out our Lamar Jackson speculative conversation. We'll see you guys later.